speaking of that, I think everybody would like to, before we get into all of the good stuff,
Okay.
and they want to go directly to the juicy stuff.
Okay.
Okay, and the juicy stuff is this. Look, you were quoted as saying that artificial intelligence is more dangerous than nuclear weapons,
I
and
said potentially.
and well, it goes on. It goes on, and
It does go on.
you say that it's like summoning the demon.
Could be.
All right. Okay, so summoning the demon. And then Elon tries to deflect that comment a little bit later. But they jump mostly into the cars because Jensen is infatuated with the Tesla and all that. So it's basically that's the part that I wanted to mention is the idea that when you're dealing with artificial intelligence, Neuralink, all this kind of stuff, Elon Musk is aware at the potential of summoning a demon. So my question to you is, what demon would he be summoning? Where he's uncomfortable a little bit to talk about it, but just put that on the shelf for now. Just put it on the shelf. This is out of Elon Musk's words saying, look, this is very dangerous, and this is actually more dangerous than nuclear weapons. And I mentioned this in one of my other videos, I think it was yesterday as well, that I think we're overlooking something here. This is a Black Swan type of event. I mentioned that the rapture is the biggest Black Swan event, but artificial intelligence, mark my words, is going to be another Black Swan event, because we're not able to comprehend the downside of this. We can't do it until it's too late. So when we're talking about a Black Swan event, you need 3 criteria. The first one is you have to have something that is highly unpredictable. So for example, the whole world will be run by computers. Most people would say, no, we can control it. No, that's not going to happen. And I'm saying the whole world will be run by computers. That's an improbable statement. But in the world of a Black Swan event, that is normal, because that's how Black Swan events happen, is when you're saying something that is ridiculously insane, that the whole world could be run by one computer. So the Black Swan event has to have something that is highly improbable. And also, the second criteria of a Black Swan event is that it has to change the financial industry, the way we do things overnight. So if you have a computer that can run the entire world, you can change that overnight, like literally by pushing a button, and everybody has to fall in line instantly. It doesn't have to take months, years. It can happen right away. You could just set a date and boom, tomorrow. It could happen that fast, is my point. And then the third criteria is using hindsight bias, most likely for those of us that will be in heaven. We'll be able to say we saw it coming. But the people on earth that dwell on earth will be like, we didn't see this coming until it happens. And then it's like, oh, nobody told us. Well, you have Watchman River every single day. The Lord's coming. And if you watch his channel, you can't say you didn't know. If you watch my channel, you can't say you didn't know. If you watch Uptime Community Church, you can't say I am ignorant of these charges. I am not guilty. You can't say that anymore. We're telling you. And it's in the Bible what's coming down the pipes, specifically the book of Revelation and the book of Daniel. I'm reading these books furiously, the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, and it's amped up. Like there's so much going on in those two books that I'm trying to read the book of Revelation every single day and the book of Daniel every single day. And it's not easy because I still have my other reading schedule. I'm actually in Nehemiah right now. So I say all that is by the time we're done this video, you'll have a clear understanding of what's going on. That's my goal. That's my goal here. So let's go to another video where this is the first patient that Elon Musk planted a chip inside a person's brain in their forehead, in their head, in their mind. The world's first human implant. Numero uno, first person. And there's many more to come. Believe me, there's many more to come. But we're going to watch this video clip and we are going to watch it here. So 1 second here. Let me find it.
In January, Elon Musk.
Okay, so this was posted 3 weeks ago on Good Morning America. So we are going to watch this clip here.
In January, Elon Musk announced that for the first time, his company Neuralink implanted a brain chip in a human as part of a preliminary clinical trial.
This is fascinating. Neuralink aims to help people living with debilitating conditions communicate and control external devices with their thoughts. And Will Reeves sat down with the patient who received that implant in an exclusive broadcast interview. He is with us now in Atlanta, Georgia. Will, good to see you. And this story here, it's a big one.
It certainly is, DeMarco. It's the future is arriving faster and faster these days, and it was my honor to get to sit with Nolan Arbaugh, who was a fantastic subject, a great guy. He's been through a lot, paralyzed for nearly 8 years now, but he says this Neuralink device has really changed his life.
I didn't have anything to wake up for in the morning, and this has changed that for me.
In a GMA broadcast exclusive, Nolan Arbaugh, the first human implanted with a Neuralink chip in his brain, is telling his story.
I accepted that I was paralyzed and that was my life. I always held out hope that it would all get better.
At 22 years old, Nolan says he dove headfirst in waist-deep water, struck something, and sustained a spinal cord injury. He couldn't move from the shoulders down.
From the time of your injury until earlier this year, what was your daily life like?
I mean, one thing about being paralyzed is that there's a lot of time to sit and think. So I thought through basically my whole life and realized all the mistakes I'd made and what I could do better.
Then, just last year, Nolan, now 30, receiving a life-changing opportunity.
One day, one of my buddies from college called me up. We talked pretty regularly, and he was like, hey, Neuralink, they opened up the human trials. And I said, what's Neuralink?
Neuralink, co-founded by Elon Musk, is an experimental implantable brain-computer interface, or BCI, a chip surgically implanted by a robot and connected by threads to a patient's brain that allows the patient to control a computer or smartphone with their mind.
This is all from there to there.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Neuralink is not the only company working on this technology. Several others are also testing their BCIs in paralyzed volunteers. Nolan now joins that small group as Neuralink's first patient.
I was just very happy that I would be a part of something that I believe is so monumental and this next step forward of helping people with paralysis.
What can you do now with the chip implanted that you could not do prior?
I can control a computer just like anyone else can, which is not something I was able to do beforehand.
You just played some music?
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. Do you worry because you are the first patient that something unforeseen could go wrong now that this is inside your head?
I wouldn't say worry. It was something where I knew that if I did this, then it would take a lot of headache and heartache away from the people down the road.
Just last week, news that some of the threads in Nolan's brain had retracted, affecting the performance of the device.
How'd you take the news when they told you that the threads had retracted?
Yeah, it was really hard. It was very, very hard to give up all of the amazing things that I was able to do. I think I had like cried basically afterwards.
The problem becoming an opportunity for the makers of Neuralink to explore solutions.
The reason we do clinical trial and early feasibility trial is to uncover these sort of issues as early as possible before they get marketed. And we rolled up our sleeves and found various different ways to for Nolan be able to recover his performance, which we have successfully been able to do.
As for Nolan, the future of the technology only looks bright.
It's going to be amazing when someone can have a spinal cord injury, go into a hospital, get surgery, and walk out a couple days later. I think it's going to happen. I don't think it's as far away as people might think.
Wow, incredible story. And Will, you mentioned that this isn't the first of this kind of technology. Why do you think we're hearing so much about this particular one?
Well, there is the Elon Musk of it all, Eva, the billionaire founder, of course, draws attention everywhere he goes. Neuralink's main thing is the tiny little threads that are thinner than a human hair that are implanted in a participant or a patient's brain. That is what they're advancing the most in their technology. There are a lot of companies doing it. Elon Musk does help bring the attention.
I can't get enough of this story. So when could this implant be made more widely available?
Well, DeMarco, anything with medical device, medical breakthroughs, generally, the time horizon is measured in years. But DJ Suh, the co-founder of Neuralink, did tell me that his company is planning to implant participants number 2 and 3 in these trials in just the coming months. So they are looking to ramp up these trials, as are other companies of similar nature.
Some fascinating stuff. Well, you mentioned that there was a problem with the connective threads. So what has Neuralink done to fix that problem for the future?
Well, Dr. Darian, what the problem was those threads retracting, which basically in layman's terms means that the device wasn't working as well. But what Neuralink did was go in, tweak the algorithm, and they claim now his BPS, bits per second, that is the standard measurement for how this stuff works. They've actually improved it, they say, versus when Nolan was initially implanted. So this is all uncharted territory for the most part. So they're figuring it out as they go.
But look how far we've come. Wow. All right. Will, thank you very much. We appreciate it and good to see you.
All right. Interesting stuff, right? Interesting. Let's see here. Any, yeah, could something go wrong? Any questions so far? Is this making sense so far? We have Elon Musk that performed the first implant, computer brain chip implant into a human being in January. And 3 weeks ago, this was posted to show what's happening today. So it's interesting from the perspective of, wow, you could see this in the Bible. And I keep saying it, artificial intelligence is all over the book of Revelation, all over the book of Revelation. It's also in the book of Daniel as well. And I'm going to prove it not only in this video, but in videos to come as well. That this is what John was seeing, this kind of thing. And if you think I'm kidding, if you think I'm exaggerating, let's go to the scriptures. Hold tight, hold on. Let's go to Revelation 13. Of all the chapters, Revelation 13. If you're into numbers, it's kind of interesting that 13 stands out. All right, let's go to Revelation 13. And we've seen this probably a few times. We've seen this a few times. But let's just dive into it again. All right. And I stood. Just make sure everybody could see that. All right. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshipped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months, 40 and 2 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. Who are those? Well, those are all of us in heaven. So if you don't think there's people in heaven, you're kidding yourself. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Where? On earth. And to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. That's not the church. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. It's almost like if anyone is human left, non-robotic, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. It's interesting that Elon Musk also has a ton of satellites out in space all over the world, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast. Now this is the false prophet doing this now, that they should make an image. Who? All those that their names are not in the Lamb's book of life, to make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power, excuse me, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. I give you artificial intelligence. Right there, verse 15. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand, or in, not on, in their foreheads. We just saw that in the video. And that no man, what was the job? What did this guy, what was one of his things, that his feats that he was so excited to do? Control a computer. That's what he wanted. And he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Meaning, if you don't have the mark, you can't buy or sell. Don't have to take the mark, you just can't buy or sell anything. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. All right. So now I'll come back. Interesting, right? Again, you can debate. You can go, you know what, Shane? Artificial intelligence? I don't see it. I'm thinking it's more angelic. That's it. It's probably angels, demonic angels. That's it. Yes, I agree with that. But there's also something that allows that to happen, and that's artificial intelligence. If you go deeper, that's almost like the portal in itself to allow these spirits to manipulate you and all this kind of stuff. And we're not done yet. We're going to prove this because now we're going to study it a little bit more in Latin. So for some reason, my email wasn't working because I wanted to send the email to myself so I can make a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation, but I have it backed up, so I'll just read some of my notes. So I'll just reread verse 13, or chapter 13, 16, and 17. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand and or in their foreheads. So in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save that man that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, I might butcher this a little bit, but I encourage you to look this up in the Latin Vulgate, Revelation 13, verse 16, 17. Et facit omnes pusulus et magnos et divides et papyrus et liberos et servet excepere characterim in dextera mano sua at frontibus, interesting, sues, et nequis posset emir re ot vendir nisi qui habet characterum nomen bestiae, which is beast, at numerum neminis eos. Lots, right? So, what is going on in Latin? Look at this. It is generally fair to say, if you use the King James Version and you compare other scriptures or other Bible versions, ESV, NLT, NIV, all this stuff, it's generally fair to say that in many common versions of the Bible, including translations like NIV, English Standard Version, New Living Translation, and others, the word mark is only used once in Revelation 13 to 16. This reflects a common translation choice across various English versions of the Bible, where the repetition of the word mark, as seen in the King James Version and in the Latin Vulgate, is often not manifest. Meaning, in the King James Version, mark, the word mark is used twice. In the Latin Vulgate, it's used twice. In every other version, CSV, NLT, only used once. Only used once. Why? So let's read it again. We'll read verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Don't know why I'm getting parched here. Should add more water. Don't think I had any water this morning. All right, so I read it in Latin. I don't want to butcher it, but there's a few words that jump out. And I'm going to go back to this real quick. So, for example, the word computer derives from the word computare, C-O-M-P-U-T-A-R-E, meaning to reckon or to calculate. Over time, this Latin root evolved into the English word compute, which refers to mathematical calculations or processing information. The term computer originally referred to as a person who performs calculations. That's what a computer used to mean. Wow, you're like a computer. You can do these calculations. That's what that meant in slang, computer. A person that makes calculations. But as technology advanced, it came to refer to electronic devices that perform computations automatically for us. So in a way, the modern concept of a computer does trace its origins back to Latin. So the Latin word, let me just jump back here. The Latin word used in Revelation 13:18 is computet. C-O-M-P-U-T-E-T. This is what John is looking at here. Hic sapientia est q habitat intellectum computet numerum bestiae. Numerous enim hominis est, and here's the number of the beast, et numerus est sexinti sexaginta sex, S-E-X. That's 666 in Latin. So the Latin word now, characterum, in Latin, characterum referred to a mark or a symbol with distinctive significance. Through linguistic evolution, this Latin term translated into the English word character. Character, encompassing the traits and attributes that distinguish an individual or entity. Therefore, the English concept of character directly inherits its linguistic lineage from Latin, showcasing the enduring impact of Latin on the English language's form and development. So we get computer, and we also get character, which oftentimes is referred to a person or an entity, personification. This is all in Revelation chapter 13, verse 13 to 18. We're talking about a computer character, a computer man, a man that is made of a computer, that has computer characteristics, because we used to call human beings computers because they were so fast at calculations. Then we went away from that, and once calculators became amazing and we didn't have to do the work, we now call those computers. But in Revelation, John is looking at this. Look at this. This is a computer character. This is the image of the beast. It's a computer character. This isn't science fiction. This is what John was describing as artificial intelligence. It's a computer that acts like a human. And if we don't worship one day in the future this computer, you can't buy or you can't sell anything. You can't make this stuff up. It's in the Bible. It's in Revelation in Latin. And when we translate it into English, you lose some of that spice, some of that seasoning. Guaranteed when the people were writing this, they were like, yeah, that's kind of a weird word. Computer, that's weird. Character, okay, well, that's what John saw. Let's translate it. This is why people were moving away from the King James Bible, because there were words in the King James Bible that even King James and the people writing it didn't understand, but they transcribed it anyway, transliterated it anyway. Until when? Until we understand it later, which is now. Daniel talks about it. He says knowledge is going to increase. So if you don't understand the word 400 years ago in Latin or in Hebrew, you transliterate it anyway. This is why people don't like the King James Bible. They're like, yeah, I don't understand it. Yeah. Well, people don't understand Latin either. They don't understand Greek. They don't understand Hebrew, Cantonese, like Mandarin. You have to work at it to understand. But you got to understand that the first priority was to transliterate a lot of the words that they didn't understand. So if they see computer, they're like, I don't know what that is yet. Put it down anyway. Okay, somebody in the future will understand it. What's character? What's computer character? Don't know. Write it down anyway. Somebody in the future will understand it. Unless you take that out and you delete a line here and there, a couple of words here and there, and you start watering it down till you get to the point where you get like the message, and it's one person's interpretation. And you'll miss all of this stuff. You'll miss it all. This only came about because I'm looking at that word. I'm like, okay, what is this 666? What does that mean? English, it's like, okay, 603 score. Okay. Doesn't really help because it's just numbers. But when you look it up in Latin, you see, oh, what's this computer root word doing here all of a sudden? What is character doing there all of a sudden in Latin? You put those two together, again, you have a computer character. What is artificial intelligence trying to do? They're trying to emulate us so that we feel good about bringing them into our world, into our life. If they talk nicely, they have a nice tone, they look normal, they don't look scary so that we can accept them. They have to look like a person. They have to sound like a person, feel like, have emotions, all this kind of stuff. That is a computer character. If you think about video games, animation, if you look up the word animation, animate, all this stuff goes back to demonic type things. And you have Disney, Walt Disney, that is like the biggest company right now that is going after our children on several levels. They've been doing it for a while. What is their big thing? Animation. Characters that are computer drawn using a computer characters, and they're getting more photorealistic. Neuralistic every single day. And there will be a time that even if the elect were able to be deceived, as in we can't detect what is real, what is not when it's presented in front of us. Put on a goggle, put on Google's goggle, Apple Intelligence. They're all going in this direction. All of them. Metaverse, like Zuckerberg. You have Google doing their own thing with artificial intelligence. You have Elon pushing it with XAI. Have you ever even thought about what XAI means? X, it can also be short for explanation. Artificial intelligence, a way to explain artificial intelligence easier. Like, it's all over the place. So when you think about it, the dragon gives his power to the beast, which has 7 heads, and one of them has a fatal wound that is healed. And then he has 10 that don't have their own kingdom, but they're kind of like kings. I think those are 10 companies that are harnessing artificial intelligence. You can say Google, you can say Metaverse, you can say Elon Musk, you can say Jensen, all these companies, Nvidia. You could, if you were to pick top 10, there are probably at least 10 companies, but there's probably 10 that jump out at you. I think that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about kingdoms. We're talking about artificial intelligence that work together under the infrastructure of the beast, which is the Antichrist. Which, don't kid yourself thinking that it may just be a human being. It might actually be a hybrid of Nephilim, half human, half robot, half human. Something is going on with this character that does not get judged at the great white throne judgment. What do I mean? Well, when Jesus Christ comes back with his army, with his human army and angels, but those of us that live in heaven, when he comes back, we're behind him on white horses coming down to earth. And the Antichrist and the false prophet get tossed into the lake of fire. That's judgment. But what I'm saying is they're not standing before the great white throne judgment. Why? Because their name is not written in the Lamb's book of life. And it may never have been. They might have been artificial intelligence from the beginning. That's why they don't need to stand before the great white throne judgment and get judged for their works, because they're not human. They get tossed into the lake of fire. There's something in their DNA that makes it so that they're not human. That's the Antichrist. That's the false prophet. Does Elon Musk qualify for that? I think he's human. He acts like he's a robot. Maybe he is a clone. Don't know. But I'm leaning on the side that he's still human today. But I think the Antichrist won't be human. At least that through the naked eye, that we can't tell. Internally, probably he's got all kinds of things going on, but on the outside, he may look like a human to everyone else. And same thing with the false prophet. Because otherwise, it seems weird that they don't show up first in line at the great white throne judgment. Because all those people, their names are also not written in the Lamb's book of life. But their works are open. What works? All the works they did that led them to die. Works of death. We have those books as well. Works unto death. But they're expunged. Why? because of what Jesus Christ did on the cross for us. He forgave us all our sins, nailed all of our iniquities onto the cross. You can almost think of it as our book. He nailed onto the cross with all our works, all the pages. Nailed it to the cross. Past, present, future. Done. One time on the cross. He shed his blood for us so that we don't have to get judged. We don't have to go to the lake of fire like the false prophet and the Antichrist. Do not pass go. They go straight into the lake of fire. The devil does not go into the great white throne judgment. He also goes into the lake of fire when? After the 1,000-year millennium kingdom, because he must be imprisoned for a short season. And if you want to know what season is, that's 1,000 years. It's short. It's in a blink of an eye when you think about it, in the light of eternity. A season ends. That's another way to look at it. We have 4 seasons here. Summer, fall, winter, spring. 4 seasons. They end each year. Each season ends depending where you live, of course. The devil had a short season. He knew his time was short when he got kicked out of heaven. He got defeated, came to earth, and went after all those remnant, if you will, the seed of that woman that gave birth to Jesus Christ. So that's Israel. He's going crazy after them. Where? Most likely in Jerusalem. Most likely taking over Jerusalem, overwhelming Jerusalem. And at first, they welcome him with open arms. Why? Because he helps them become powerful, helps them build the temple. If it is indeed a temple that he's helping build, I don't mind that idea. I sometimes wonder if the temple is more of symbolic in nature, as in the Antichrist actually, or the devil actually inhabits the temple, as in our body, because we are the temple of God. So you can pose a little bit of argument. It feels like you'll lose the argument with most people because they're like, no, it has to be an actual physical temple. It has to be in order for the Antichrist. Okay, that's fair. But what if it isn't? What if it actually is the Antichrist that is promising to build a temple in order to get in, but it's actually possessing a human being that is a hybrid in whatever area? And the deal is to build the temple, but halfway through, the deal gets squashed. All the sacrifices stop. So yeah, physical temple, but there could be other layers as well that are at stake. That's my whole point. If you're looking at it from a physical leader, a human leader, I think you're missing it. I think it is a combination of a human, a person that looks like a human, but has a computer for a brain. And we saw it in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, in Greek. Sorry, in Latin. Interesting, right? Interesting. So, hopefully, that wasn't too bad. That was only an hour. Hopefully you got something out of this. What are your thoughts? Any questions? Am I out to lunch? Am I cray-cray? It's interesting, right? So I think what happens sometimes in the comments, because people can't process what I'm talking about, sometimes they'll go off onto different tangents. But if you could stick with me here, what do you think about chapter 13, Revelation chapter 13, in relation to the video that I just showed you about Elon Musk, and also the first video with Jensen and Elon Musk talking about opening up a portal to demons? Or is this too much that as a person watching this, that you have to make comments about something else? Like, okay, what about Ruth? What about Lot? Or what about something else? Like, is this too much to be able to focus on what was presented here in the last 60 minutes? Is this too much? Is this too hard to focus on the subject matter? Or is there something else that you would rather talk about on this channel than what was presented here? Like, just picture it like you're in a classroom and you're in front of a teacher that's speaking. You don't raise your hand and then you say, okay, well, what about trees? What about forests? Like, what about that? And the guy's like, well, I didn't talk about anything about that at all. Oh, I know. I just wanted to ask. I know, but that's a different class. That's next door. So again, I'm asking, what are your thoughts here in this audience around, are there any questions around Revelation chapter 13? Does what I present sound crazy to you? Does it sound like, no, that is not talking about a computer character, a computer person? That is your interpretation, Shane. That is not the world's interpretation. And I would agree with you. Yes, my interpretation is not the world's interpretation. Like, we're getting deep into being immersed in this stuff right now. It's being pushed on us all over the place. And on some fronts, it seems to make sense. The idea that you can use a computer to allow someone to walk, that's cool. But it feels like it's infringing on something else, which is the fact that Jesus Christ is our healer. And we won't pray to him for restoration, but we will ask a computer to heal us. And I think that falls in line a little bit later, where if you're so used to the idea of computers helping you out to navigate because you don't know where to go, you don't know how to get to a movie theater, so you use GPS. You can't find your sister's place or your daughter's place because you need GPS. What's to say that you're not going to ask rocks to kill you before the wrath of the Lamb comes? Rocks meaning fallen angels, spirits, demonic spirits probably inhabiting bodies, half man, half Nephilim. What's stopping mankind from asking those beings, those rocks, to fall on them, to kill them? Because there will be a time where they will ask for death and they won't be able to get it. Something is going to happen to their body where they're like, I can't die. I want to die because this is so painful, but I can't. And if you talk about what is it, made and all this stuff, that's going to go out the way of the dodo bird, as in, good luck trying to get to your loved ones in a medical facility when this is all going on, and they're calling you, begging you that, hey, they're doing stuff to me, I just want to die. You can't even see them. You're not allowed to see them. You're not allowed to go in for at least 5 months. It's all in the book of Revelation, folks. It's all there. We're kidding ourselves if we think the Antichrist is just an average, normal human being. We're kidding ourselves. When I just read what the Latin words were in Revelation 13, again, you get the word computer, you get character. That's how you know who the Antichrist is a computer character, someone that is posing as a human being. Interesting, right? All right. So that's it for today's video. Hope you got something out of it. If you have, let me know in the comments. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to come back to this video and watch it again. Again, you can't, I don't know if you can see this here. I wrote this out here. See character rim? Can you see that? See on the left? Compute, it. That's computer. That's where we get the word computer from. And then below, sexinti, sexaginta, sex. That's 666. So compute it, to reckon or to calculate. To reckon is interesting. Derived from the Latin word computere, which is the root of the English word compute. Computer. Computare. To reckon. That's where we get computer from. He, Antichrist, is human. Again, yeah, like you can look at it from that, but I think it's more to it than just a person being possessed. I really do. I think there's something else going on here that is more, there's something related to, again, this is also related to the image of the beast. You could pose a huge argument that the Antichrist gets possessed by the devil and the false prophet creates artificial intelligence, which is a human character that everyone is to worship because it's in the image of the beast. It looks like the beast. So imagine a human possessed by the devil, the Antichrist. Then you have an image that looks like the Antichrist, whoever that person is. But this is a character, an animated character, a computer-generated character of the image of the beast, a mirror image, a duplicate, if you will. And this is what you have to worship, this image. If you don't worship the beast, you don't worship the dragon, you don't worship the image, you will get beheaded unless you take the mark. If you take the mark, you can buy and sell. If you don't take the mark, you can't buy or sell, and you face capital punishment, which will probably most likely be rolled out after we're in heaven, because in order for the Antichrist to come at those that dwell in heaven, you have to have people in heaven already. They have to be dwelling there, inhabiting heaven. Heaven. And there's different levels of heaven as well. And maybe I'll make a video about that, because there's something interesting about the word sea in relationship to, you have the heavens, you have the firmament, you have the earth. Lots of stuff going on in the sea, because in heaven you see a sea of glass. That's where the throne is on top of. And in New Jerusalem and New Earth, there is no sea. I think that sea is gone. Not talking about oceans on the water. Something else going on here. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this. Feel free to, again, to subscribe. Feel free to share your thoughts. Feel free to watch it again. Let me know your comments. And then also, if you have any questions as well, email me. If you want to be on this podcast, on this show as a guest, and you have something that you'd like to share in regards to this information stuff, if you want to share your testimony and stuff, I would suggest you go to Girl Who Loves Jesus. She loves to have people share their testimony. It's not that I don't want you to share your testimony on here. I just think from time to time, yeah, for sure. but I'm predominantly focusing on people that have an insight or a revelation, if you will, not necessarily a dream, because you can go to other channels for that if you have a dream that you want to share with people. But if you have insight as to what artificial intelligence would look like, if you have insight onto NVIDIA, Neuralink, anything like that from a insider perspective, if you will, if you've worked on any of these projects, you're welcome to this channel as well. What else? If you like to go deep on the book of Revelation or the book of Daniel, you have some insights on there as well. You're welcome to be a guest here. And if you want to support this channel, if you go to the description on the channel, you can now donate via PayPal, like $5 or whatever. If you got something out of this video, you can just go to PayPal, boom, done. We also have Give, Send, Go on there as well, and then donor box, I believe. So there's various ways. If you like this kind of format where we go deep, then you could feel free to support this channel as well. It's up to you, whatever. And then also you can also support $2, $5, $10, whatever. You can click on the super button. I think you can donate anywhere from $2 and up. Like if most people are comfortable with the idea of going to Burger King or whatever, you spend your $5, $10 or whatever, $5 goes a long way on this channel as well, because it allows me to spend more time in the Word, reading, and then making more videos, proclaiming the gospel, sharing insights in the book of Revelation, whetting your appetite so that you can read more of the Bible. That's the idea behind this. So again, thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate you guys. And I will see you in another video. Bye for now.